Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today's video is really for the do-it-yourselfer, and I'm going to put together as many tips as possible from this install. Everything from trenching to laying the pipe, backfill, summary of costs, how to join pipe together, as much as I can. If you have any questions, you're welcome to send emails. It's pretty hard. I get a lot of emails, plus doing our business as well. The best way to do something, if you really have a question or a problem with your project, is to use our consult, the video consult via Zoom. Yeah, it costs 60 bucks, but it's well worth it. Everyone is just very delighted, very pleased with the information that they get on their project. So feel free to sign up online for that. We'll put you in the schedule. But let's go ahead and take a look at this project. Let's go over a couple things. This pipe that goes under the driveway is called a culvert, and you can see this water is laying here. Anytime that there's a big thunderstorm here in north central Florida, this is going to fill up. This happens to be from Hurricane Matthew, and the water table here is so high that this will take days and days and days for it to drain. But that's okay. This is part of how it's supposed to work. The pipe that goes underneath of the driveway, again, is called a culvert. This one's 18 inches wide, and I don't know how long, 26 feet. And you can see the other side of the culvert. And what we had to do here was install a drain. You can see it right here. And it runs all the way back to the back of their property, the center of the driveway. And that was totally underwater, and you'll see some images of that as well. So again, there's a lot of how-to tips in here, and I hope that you enjoy them, or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email. Best way to really get in touch with us is use the service sign up. If you've got a project that you'd like us to take a look at and you're within our project area. We are expanding. We're down here in Orlando, Florida now, so we're doing most all of Central and North Florida. We're also, of course, in Charlotte, doing North Carolina and South Carolina. We're also trying to get up into Virginia, into the Richmond area. So, we're expanding, slow but sure. Okay, let's go ahead and start the video. Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. So the other day we came out here to this property and we pumped out a lot of water out of here. Now we just have some low spots that, of course, are still holding water. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and trench a new line. We're going to put a drain in this low spot here. The line's going to go across to that side of the property, and then it's going to go all the way out to the street, to the swell out front by the culvert. And again, if you've got a property that, this is from the hurricane, but if you've got a property that once that groundwater rises, it has no place to go, and you can see it just sits here for days and days. This is, 3 days after the hurricane, and water's draining. I'll show you out front here at the culvert. Water's draining, but the groundwater back here is so high that this water can't go anywhere. So basically it's just evaporating. Remember, we put the sump pump over here and we pumped that water out. And that little Zoller, I thought it was only going to take a couple of hours, but it actually took about 6 hours. But again, we had over a half an acre of water back here that was just totally flooded. It's 4 or 5 inches deep. In my opinion, that little pump did a great job.
Okay, renting a trencher is a very good idea on a project this size. A trencher can be rented from any tool rental, usually from $60 to $120 per day. And yeah, you need a way to get that trencher and trailer to your property and be able to run the trencher. It is very simple to run the trencher. It's well marked and very easy. Basically, you work backwards as you trench. It will set the dirt off to one side and make a very clean trench. Well worth getting a trencher. Next, we're going to look at why we are doing this job. Again, remember, this is groundwater. Water table has risen. It makes it very difficult for areas to drain. You can see it in the next portion of the video.
So you can see right away, we're down here about 20 inches, and here's groundwater right here. So that's the reason that this property doesn't drain. You know, from back there in that low spot, back there, that groundwater is the same depth. It just cannot get down through the soil. You can see it's just filling up the trench more and more. But once we put this through, we're just going to go under the fence, come out on the other side, and go all the way out to that swale, to the culvert, where it's plenty downhill. It's going to be about 2 feet deep or more as we hit that culvert. Okay, so once you have your trench dug, remember that you can rent a trencher for like 60 bucks for a half a day, 110 for the whole day, and that will make this job really simple. We're putting in over 350 feet of pipe here, so you really want to do it, you know, with a trencher. But anyways, once you get this cleaned out, and again, you can see there's a lot of groundwater down there. I don't know if you can see that, but that trench is full of water. I'm just about ready to open up to the low spot. You're going to see this water just flow down through here so fast.
Very important note, when you are using a trencher, make sure that you call and get the area located for any underground utilities.
You can see just how quickly just an open trench begins to drain an area that's flooded. So this water's running all the way down and around, like I said, and we need to go underneath that fence and then on out to the culvert. So once you have your trench dug out, cleaned out, now it's time to lay your pipe. A lot of controversy, or comments about using corrugated ADS or versus thin wall PVC. And I've been installing for 30 years. Ever since this was manufactured, we started using it, and that was about 20 years ago. It works great. You can send a cable down the line. We clean these lines every day. Granted, if the pipe is collapsed, in other words, if it's crushed, your cable's not going to get through it. But thin wall PVC does the same thing. If a root wraps around the outside, or maybe a trencher or cable company came through, hit it, it collapses. Same thing. We send the cable down the line, we find that spot that's bad, you dig it up and you replace it. This is a nice pipe because it comes in 100-foot rolls. This is solid pipe. Water won't leak out. It comes all the way to the back of the trench. So let's go ahead and lay the pipe. You'll notice I already have it rolled out, and I'm going to come right here to the end. Now what I'm going to do is just walk back through it and step on it as I go. As I said, I've been stepping on that pipe. It doesn't crush. I mean, sure, I could crush it, but I can also crush thin wall PVC. The reason I'm stepping it down, in this trench especially, you can see there's still a lot of water on the bottom. So I needed to get to the bottom of that trench, which is quite deep. So stepping on it forces it down past the roots where it was cut through with a trencher, and keeps it on the bottom of the trench. Same thing with PVC. You want to make sure you're at the bottom of the trench. We're going to go right up there under that fence, and then we'll connect on the other side. So I've pulled it underneath the fence. Now I'm going ahead and stepping it down to the bottom of the trench. These roots make it a little tough to sink down in. Just be careful as you walk and let your body weight push it right down into the bottom of that trench so it doesn't float up. There we go. All the way underneath. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now we're ready to cover up the trench. A couple little things that you should remember. Remember how I stepped the pipe down to the bottom of the trench? whether there's water in there or not, you should definitely have on your boots, and you should step on your pipe and pull the dirt over. Just get it, keep going. This keeps that pipe at the bottom of the trench. It's very important. Then you'll come back, of course, and do your cleanup. But try to get some dirt on that. Try to get some soil. By stepping on the pipe, you're keeping it on the bottom of the trench. Really important. Whether you use PVC or corrugated, doesn't matter. You need to make sure it stays on the bottom of the trench. A couple quick notes. When you're covering, when we're going to finish covering here, just bring all your soil back up on the trench. If you want to take some away from that, that's fine. Taking soil away from here on the sides is twice the work. Rake it up on the top and then go back through with a shovel, put it in your wheelbarrow and take it away. Another thing, I have all these tips, right? But if you're going to do it yourself, these are pretty good tips. Don't try to pack it down. If you stomp on it, you're only going to compact soil that far, and the rest of it's still loose underneath. So you need to let gravity pull it down, and rain is what we want now. We want it to rain because that's going to pull the dirt down onto the trench. In a couple of weeks, it will have settled. But if you take it away, you're going to have a low spot. Excuse me, if you tap it down, thinking you're at the right level, and take it away, you're going to have a real low spot, after you finish. So don't forget that. And finally, for the do-it-yourselfer, it is pretty hard to keep a downhill flow with a trencher or even by hand. And a lot of people set up, levels, laser levels. All these things are not needed. The trench can actually have a couple bellies in it. It's not going to make any difference at all. As long as it's lower here than where you started, it will work. Water is going to go into your drain, and it may have a couple bellies, but water levels higher in the back now, it's going to push it out and it'll come out at the end of your pipe. So don't worry about if you have a little belly. It's not going to hurt it. Granted, you want to try to make it downhill the best you can, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, let's go ahead and finish covering it up. And basically I'm just going to turn my rake upside down and start pushing soil over on top of the trench. And then we'll come back and rake it again. So you can see how quickly it cleans up. And now that you have your soil mounded up, this is the time you would take it away. But I'm going to let this settle because this is sand, and when it rains it'll just go down and it'll also filter out. And then we'll throw some seed on it and we're done. So joining corrugated pipe, you can definitely buy a fitting. It costs $4 to $6, somewhere in there. Or what you can do is cut off about a 6-inch section. And we're going to use this as an insert to join our pipes together. In other words, this piece is going to go inside and inside, and it snaps back open and makes a coupling. And it works exactly the same as if you buy a coupling. And what we do is we just go ahead and slice this right in half, line it up, and squeeze it really tight together. We want to be able to slide it inside of the pipe. We'll do the same thing on the trench pipe over here. Let's take a look. You can see that pipe down there. We'll do the same thing by putting it together there. So again, squeeze your pipe tightly together so that it's really tight. Slide it inside and then just push these two together. This insert will pop open inside of here. It's not that easy to do, but it's not that hard either. There we go. So we're ready to continue installing. So here at our final connection, again, we're just going to make the measurement, cut off our pipe, take our insert that we cut off, slice it in half, squeeze it tightly together, and insert it in one side or the other, and it will snap open, maybe. Yeah, there it goes. Put the next piece on and just screw it together. Just push hard, really tighten them up. And there we have it. Let's go ahead and hook up that last little section right there, and we'll be ready to cover this up. Before I finish covering this last section of pipe here, wanted to show you something. Notice that we're running PVC, and we're going to change that over to corrugated. There's all kinds of ways to do this. This fitting right here is actually a catch basin adapter. And of course I've got hundreds of these laying around because we install, so many different things. But basically you just slide that piece inside, and on this side over here, the corrugated fits perfectly into the inlet of the adapter. So now we've got a really great drain. Whoops. You can see our inlet to the drain, the catch basin over here. It's a 6-inch drain, goes down to the 4-inch pipe, runs along, and yeah, there's water in our trench only because it's just really flooded. That's groundwater, and we've picked up, as you can see, if you see the area over here, it's a little bit muddy, but wow, did we dry this area out. It worked really good. So again, do-it-yourselfers, this is a good project to save thousands of dollars. I did this all by myself just to kind of show what needs to be done, but it took about 4 hours altogether. And yeah, I changed shirt because I was so sweaty, but it did a great job. It's going to dry out this entire area. And that water is going all the way out to the street. So this was a great project for the do-it-yourselfer. Our total materials here, you're looking at 2.5 rolls of pipe, so almost $160, $170 in material. And basically you saw me put the trench in. It's running, all the way, showed you how to cover it up. Gave a lot of different tips here, and it's something that I would encourage the homeowner to do, but be prepared. This is something I do every day. And even though I did it all by myself here just to show it can be done, it is a lot of labor. It is quite a bit of labor. Not so much trenching. I dug this trench with the trencher in less than half an hour. But putting your pipe in, moving this sand, this heavy sand, that takes a lot of labor to clean it all up. And I talked about corrugated and PVC. Definitely, I like to run PVC under something that's going to be driven over. They're both quite strong. They're actually rated at the same crush rating, but I still like to run PVC underneath of the driveway. And you can see this is their drive. It was all underwater if you remember those photos. So again, a great project for the do-it-yourselfer. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.